Okay. What's up, everybody? Christopher Leon Johnson here. So, I want to give my shout out to everybody out there that's just engaging with the Zeron video I posted him at the Western Day Parade. Is getting views, getting traction. One got over 1,005 views. So shout out to everybody out there. Everybody out back in that video watching it. I know it's gonna probably get 20,000, but as I fuck with Zeron, that's my guy. But just to make sure, from yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. We're so busy helping people out in the city. We feel the days of the week. But Jim Weldon dropped out the race. Jim dropped out of the mayoral race because he saw that he had no chance of victory, and he doesn't want to be the part of the reason why Madonna becomes mayor. And that's gonna be crazy. This is gonna be a crazy September. And he did the right thing. He did it in September, unlike other people that just probably ain't gonna drop out. So that's like I said before many times. I tell people all the time that about Zeron is that the only way he could lose this general election if there's a real one-on-one. And I have a big feeling that Adams, our incumbent mayor, might drop out later this month to get himself off the ballot, removed off the ballot, so it could be a real one-on-one. Even with Curtis from the race, Curtis will be a non-factor because Curtis will be no-sold. So I want to do a quick video about this, and I want to give an explanation about this situation that is happening in the city right now. And this is still a topic that I still want to get into, to the point where that somebody, the journalist, shout out to this journalist who is a student from Columbia University, and the reason I don't want to expose that person's identity because I don't want to put that person in danger. We had a quick 15-minute interview this morning, and he asked me many things about the minimum wage law, the Instacart situation, minimum wage, and my take about the minimum wage. And I told him the same thing that I said many times, that myself, Christopher Leon Johnson, is not a anti-labor person. I'm not the type of person that say that nobody deserves a living wage. I'm not the type of person that will say that people don't deserve to make $25 an hour. I'm not that type of guy. I am long from that. Because when I was in 32 PJ, I was going crazy. I'm not saying like lunatic right now. I'm doing right now to make sure people get paid the money that they're supposed to get paid. I'm the type of person where if you work 10 hours a day, because I just resaw this video and I want to get into that in a few minutes. You work 10 hours a day, you're supposed to get paid 10 hours a day. Now, I just saw a video. I went to one of my people's page and saw this video, and me and this person had a bad falling out. And I'm not talking about Raul. This other person named Skeletor, I covered him. We had a bad falling out because, like I told people many times, like certain things about me that when I do somebody wrong, especially a person I can tell who's a good person, I have to make it right with them. And we had a bad falling out because of this, but at the end of the day, I still love him as a person because no matter what, if he was to ever get in trouble, I'll still come out and help him out because I know why we had bad falling out. And it's basically because we try to make it right with somebody, despite the fact that that other person don't like that person. It's something where you might have a bad falling out, and part of the work, when you are I'm not saying I'm an advocate, but I'll say when you help people out, when you helping people who are helping people out that are, I like to say marginalized, people that are marginalized or people that can't have that voice, they have So you got to really understand where they're coming from, and you can never hold it against them like you hold against people that are like politicos and lobbyists and consultants and people that are media that do intergovernmental affairs. You can never hold it against the people that don't have a voice. If the people don't have a voice, don't takes it a certain way, then you gotta deal with it. And sometimes you can't hold it against them because they're human beings like we are. And if you care about them, sometimes you gotta like forgive them. And you gotta forgive them if they treat you differently, whatever the hell, right? So going forward, I had a conversation with this journalist today about the minimum wage rollout, and I said many times that the rollout for the minimum wage was a bad rollout, because what happened, and I said as many times, was that they only let the city council and the mayor's office and the agencies only allow one nonprofit to deliver the gospel for this idea, and they took no input from other people that did the work in other organizations and groups and people that are close to the work. And the people that was close to the work and other advocates and other organizations said, like, look, this is a bad rollout, because if you was to ever roll this out, this is going to be, it's going to open up a can of worms that is going to be hard to put in. And they didn't listen, and look what happened. And the list goes on and on. Let's start with the unfair deactivations. Let's talk about where guys are working like 9, 10, 11 hours, and because of the rule with Uber, DoorDash, and shit like that, they get paid 8 hours. And the thing about it is that 3 hours every week adds up. That's 12 hours a month. 12 hours times $8, that's like $108, right? And it's a lot of money to people. And another thing that happened, and people, you're following the stuff, if you are an e-bike crisis person, you start understanding that because of this stuff, the commissioner, Jessica Tisch, has put a rule with the NYPD where if you blow a red light as a cyclist or e-bike rider, and you go 1 mile per hour over speed limit is 15 miles per hour on an e-bike, you have to go to criminal summons court. And criminal summons court is at 1 Century Street, 16th floor. And people don't understand that not everybody have the luxury of getting lawyers on pro bono because of backroom deals or paid lawyers and all these lawyers. You know, if you go to criminal summons court and you don't have the luxury of having a summons, like a paid criminal court lawyer, a paid lawyer, or a pro bono lawyer that will do the work for you because something they get out of return, or some access shit, or some clout, you have to deal with a 18B attorney that really don't just want to get you out of there. And the majority of the time, if you have an 18B, depending on the day, you might not be seen at all, or you might be there all day to hear your case. Now, it's a majority of the time in those facilities, the people mostly being seen for those cases are mostly minorities, blacks, Latinos, and Asians, because somebody had to correct me about that, about Asians. And what happened, and I said, it's a lot of things that opened up the can of worms that opened everything up because of these, because of the minimum wage law. And like I said, like I say many times, is that the reason that it's just what it is in 2025. And as many things that came out of this law really wrong, and it's hard to really turn the clock back because the money that been made with this nonprofit, they're not willing to turn back the clock and say, okay, or stop the clock and say, look, we made our billions off this stuff. And I'm not saying they made $1 billion out of it, but I said the money that was earned from the Liberistas because of this law is $1 billion, over $1 billion right now. But sometimes you gotta say you gotta stop the clock to really take everything back to the drawing board. Because, and I want to talk about this, another thing I want to talk about right now, where we have a city council where we have a city council where they, because of this law, the minimum wage law that they championed, the apps took a lot of things out, and now they're waiting until the last minute to say, oh, let's do this, let's do that, and okay, they took the tip option out. Now the city council put the tip option back in, and then now they are unfairly deactivating everybody, and now that city council is fighting like, wait, we gotta stop unfair deactivations. Let me make this clip about unfair deactivations, right? Let me talk this right now. The reason the unfair deactivations are happening in the city council, I mean with the Liberistas, and when it comes to the Uber, the taxi drivers, like the 4 hire drivers, that's a different topic. It's a different subject. But when it comes to the Liberistas, the reason this is happening, where guys and gals are getting their accounts unfairly deactivated, is because of the fact of this law. And let me explain what happened with this law, because I was there for the fight, and people could talk about like what went down, and I know what went down that day, and I'm not proud of what went down that day. And the thing is that let me explain what happened, right? So when the law became law in 2023 with Brad Lander, Margie Velasquez, Dirk BJ, Chuck Schumer's behind this thing. There's a lot of things with this stuff, right? They were celebrating this with the mayor before the indictment, and to the point where the app sued the city, and the city had to fight this, and they had a press conference outside. Myself and many of the Liberistas that was out there fighting didn't like the shit, and we was out there. We gave them hell. They couldn't run it. We gave them hell. And we was there for that case. And the thing about it is, people could say, the thing about it is that no matter what, the people that was there, they were all migrants. They're all migrants, most time illegals, illegal immigrants who don't have papers. And so you can never say that this was like a right-wing attack. This was a Trump attack. These were Trumpers. These was MAGA folks and all this stupid shit. I think it's retarded. These were migrants. These were legal immigrants that was out there who didn't like this bill. And I was out there with them, helping them out, supporting them, because the rollout was bullshit. Okay? Let's keep that 100% to the number button. Now, going forward, let's talk about this. Going forward, yeah, I think I walked. Going forward, I want to talk about this right now, where with that minimum wage, and the city got sued. The app found out, like, look, they had no real case. They wasn't going to win. So they dropped the case, and the Workers' Justice Project, which is ran by the Liga Galapa and Los Liberalistas, they were celebrating it, and I'm not mad about that. But I was a little upset because this rollout was gonna hurt everybody down the long run, and it was gonna hurt these Liberistas. And like I said, I can't stop a law, I can't stop rules. All I can do is go against it or be for it. It's my thing, this shit with me. So going forward, 2020, going forward with that, when it happened, the app say, okay, we'll give you minimum wage. We'll give you minimum wage, but this is what you got to do to get this minimum wage. And what they did was they adjusted the app. They added a rules in the app to where if you want to get paid, that time was about $19 an hour. You have to do a minimum amount of deliveries within that hour to get paid. And what happened, and I knew this was going to happen, and one day some white journalists with a big platform have to interview JQ LLC because he's the only people that who's a deliverista will expose this stuff. We could say, yeah, I'm a deliverista, and this is what I gotta do to get paid the fucking money. You have to do a certain amount of deliveries in an hour in order to get paid. And you know what happens because of that? Majority of these deliveries are occurring in Manhattan because it's the business area of the biggest market in the country, which is Manhattan, which is New York City. But the biggest area for deliveries is Manhattan. So we think it's going to happen that where the money's at is going to be in Manhattan. And all the guys and gals who does deliveries delivers in Manhattan. Now, if you have all those guys and gals that are in that's where the market is at, which is Manhattan, and a little bit of parts of Brooklyn. I want to get to this shit later on about Brooklyn because I'm going to talk about the situation. This is why I'm doing this video, just to educate you guys. If all the deliveristas are in Manhattan, because all deliveries are in Manhattan, and they have to be in compliance with the rules to order to get paid because they work in Manhattan, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, the minimum might be like 8 deliveries in an hour to get paid. And the amount of deliveries you got to do, they give you 8 deliveries you got to do in an hour to get paid. And you got to do those deliveries at a certain amount of time to get paid. And if you don't do it, those certain deliveries in a time, you get a strike on your account. And you get so many strikes on your account get deactivated. So what do you think those guys or gals are going to do? And this is life in general. This happens to anybody in life. It's a thing that comes in people's lives that is called desperation. And it's another thing that is called desperate measures. So when desperation comes desperate measures, and desperate measures creates recklessness. And you know what happens when these three come together? Tragedy and heartbreak. And I'm gonna explain what's going on right now because this is what's happening right now, and this is where Liga Galapa can get mad all she want, and Transportation Alternatives can get mad all they want about this organization that is called New York City E-Vehicle Safety Alliance, really getting to Jessica Tisch's ear to put a 15-mile-per-hour rule and to start giving everybody Class C summonses for the 15-mile-per-hour rule. What's up, man? What up? And then you could, but what happens is when you were the main people like Liga Galapa and Transportation Alternative like Danny Harris and Elizabeth Adams, when they were the main ones, when they was the main ones that helped shove this law in our faces, this is the cause and effect of what happens now. Because going back to desperation turns into desperate measures, turns into recklessness. When you're a deliverista on an e-bike and you have to do a certain amount of deliveries in an hour, and you know that those coordinates aren't gonna make you do right there, like that delivery right there, are not gonna make you do a certain amount of deliveries in an hour, you're gonna have to break every law and every rule to order to get the job done. And you know what happens with that? Guys and gals who are usually mostly riding e-bikes, they blow red lights, they ride on the wrong side of the street, they don't yield, they don't do the basic bicycle safety rules and laws, to the point where people are getting hit by these e-bikes. Some are getting seriously hurt, and some are unfortunately are not here no more because of this stuff. And what's going on right now is that there's a lot of people that want real accountability for this e-bike situation. And like I said, the reason this is happening, guys, is because of that minimum wage. When you have a minimum wage that forces the deliveristas to be desperate and do reckless shit to order to get paid a bullshit wage, is $20. That's not a living wage in the city. It's bullshit money. You can get paid the same money to stand on your ass all day being a security guard for a fucking commercial building in the city these days. I used to do security. I know this shit. When you put these guys in this situation and they're forced to do this type of work and they're forced to do this type of shit, this is what happens. This is a cause and effect. And cause and effect is, this is what generates the cause and effect of the bullshit. Now, in 2025, guys, look, let's make this clear that, so I was talking about Brooklyn, and there's something about Brooklyn I want to bring up, because it's something I want to lead into. The cause and effect puts pedestrians in danger. It put guys like him in danger, to where that those deliveristas are in situations now where they can get killed if they ride their mopeds or they ride their e-bikes, trying to do a delivery, trying to meet the quota. And this is what I want to lead into right now, because yesterday, I think it was this morning in Williamsburg, and you got to stand there. I actually stumped the whole 847 right now on this beautiful third this morning, where what happened this morning in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, Myrtle, and Bedford, where most likely it was a deliverista who rode a moped, died on Bedford and Myrtle Avenue, which is the Hasidic area of Brooklyn, Satmar. Now, I want to talk about this is because I know that TA, Transportation Alternatives, will find some way, and they will always find a way. Shout out to Astoria for shutting trains all down before they could have exploited their people's deaths to justify the Western Queens street safety plan. But they're going to find a way to do this in Williamsburg, probably Friday, or probably next week. And what they're going to do is they're going to do a vigil with Family Safe Streets and probably LDU, Worker Justice Project, and they're going to say that all deliveries that passed away, and the way we're going to fix this is by bringing back the Bedford Avenue bike lane. And the truth of the matter, the fact is that I don't think that bringing back the bike lane would ever stop more of these deaths. Because I'm explaining my theory of what happened, because JQ brought this up. And shout out to JQ LLC who brought this shit up. Where what mostly happened was, because I said those guys got so desperate for probably do a sale to get their quota, the deliverista blew a red light. And how it is in Brooklyn, especially around that area, is traffic. It's like it's always fucking cars going down, and because it's right near the BQE. It comes right off the BQE. right? It comes right off the BQ. You ever drive around there, it right, comes off the BQ, so everybody's trying to get off there because they might want to go somewhere. So what happened was the moped probably blew red light, and hit the car, hit another car. The person that rode the car, riding the moped, flew off, hit another car, and the delivery is not here no more. But like I said, this type of shit could be prevented. Like I said, if the guy was on duty, I bet you that was the case. That he got so desperate, or she got so desperate, the cause and effect happened. The cause and effect happened, guys. So something where this is a situation where in 2025, where look, unless the city council is either going to really repeal the minimum wage law and really put this back on the drawing board to where put this back on the drawing board to where you really say that we want a minimum wage, but we want to make sure that this happens for the Larisas where they're not unfairly deactivated. They don't have the guaranteed minimums, the mandated minimums in order to get paid. Or you put laws in the city council to where that these guys and gals are not subject to guaranteed mandated minimums to get paid, then this stuff's going to keep on happening in the city. And I say this many times, guys, and like I said this many times, and I'll say till I die, that this is not my fault that this is happening. I was one of the people that was against this bullshit of a minimum wage, and I'll say it publicly in the city. I say, look, I oppose this minimum wage. This is a bad rollout. Even the one that's going to happen next week with the city, with the intro 1135 with Instacart. It's a bad rollout, and this is going to create more chaos in the streets. This is going to create more tragedy with deliveries. You're going to have more of these guys and gals dying on these streets. You're going to have more people. You're going to have more victims of these e-bike situations. And you're going to have more unfair deactivation, especially with Instacart. Because what you think is going to happen, because what's going to happen with Instacart? We think going to have an Instacart, right? Instacart was like, okay, fuck it. We'll give you guys minimum wage. We ain't going to sue you guys. Fine. You win. But this is okay. We're going to learn from our homeboys at DoorDash and Grubhub and Relay. What the hell they did? Oh, guaranteed minimums, mandated minimums to get paid. All right, we make this guy work over their time, not pay them. We'll fucking start deactivate all these accounts out of retaliation. Okay, fuck it. We'll do that. But I'm saying right now that the blame will always go to transportation alternatives and open plans and the Worker Justice Project for this. And the one thing about me is that I'm the type of guy that I'm not going to push something and then get mad about the consequence or get mad about the way they handle the situation. And this is what happened with the Worker Justice Project, because they were so desperate and so fiending for the lights and the attention, and they could raise their fists in the sky, which you see on their website with Margie Velasquez acting like they accomplished something. Yeah, they did accomplish something. They accomplished more heartbreak and headache and dysfunction in these city streets, to where that what they do, and I know why I'm blocked, right? I know why I'm blocked. But they block everybody else on their social media accounts that call them out for championing the fuck shit and championing the bullshit and allowing this stuff to happen and not being accountable for what's happening. And the one thing I'll make this clear to anybody out there that don't agree with what I say, and I understand. I'm not the type of person going to get mad for disagreeing. We had the right to disagree, and nobody had the right to agree with me. Is that, look, when you don't want to be held accountable for your actions to the point that you block everybody, that you block people, you try to tie them into Donald Trump and right wing and Trumper, and you are not holding yourself really accountable for what you've done as a nonprofit and an advocacy organization. There are times, and I'll tell them this, like Lydia, and I'll tell Transportation Alternatives and Open Plans, all these nonprofits, all elected officials like Brad Lander and Sean Abreu and Shekhar Christian and fucking Sandy Nurse and Jenny Gutierrez, is that, look, there's and I said this to the people in Cypress Hills, like East New York, Cypress Hills, right? Where there comes a time that when you're an elected official or you're a nonprofit leader,